Welcome back to Angel Angela. And on today's topic, as you guys can see, we are going to be talking about the narcissist is good and you are bad. Yes, the narcissist is the good one and you are bad. You are evil. You are the person that is always wrong. You are the person that's too emotional, that's overreacting. Wow, that's crazy, right? Yeah. So I wanted to touch down on this subject because you guys, I just went through an experience, because um, when you get to the level of healing and you get to the point where you know yourself, you are being tested at all times. So I wanted to show you guys an example of ways of how you get tested and you will always be the bad person in society, around your family, in relationships. You will always be the bad person when dealing with a narcissist and narcissistic people. These people, you guys, they do not have love in their hearts and they really get off on hurting others. So I want you guys to imagine moments and times where you're upset, where you get mad, where you're angry, when you lose control, when you have awakened after being in a narcissistic relationship because they force you to wake up from this dream world you were living in. So now you're looking at the world completely different. I know, in my part, these narcissistic relationships with these people have changed me to see the world into something that I would have never imagined, 7, 8, 9 years ago. So it's been a long process, but this is why I like to share these things with you, my experiences with you, because I know that not only can you guys relate to it, but you guys can actually heal from it. I know it feels like you can't heal from it, but there is light, you guys. There is healing after this. It just really sucks that there are people that are like this, and it's going to take some time to adjust to get your mind right, because what they did is they made you feel like you were crazy for a while, and after that stage of insanity, of doing the same things over and over again, and you realize I can't do the same things over and over again. They're going to call you crazy. They're going to say that you're a bad person. And the reason is because you're waking up. You're realizing that a lot of the things that maybe you've even done might have not been correct. In my experience, you guys know I have my homeless foundation where I make care packages, with toothpaste, toothbrushes, and essentials that people need that we take for granted. I know what it's like, and seeing people that I've loved be in those type of situations. And when I was younger, I was a child. So if I saw homeless people, I was scared of them. I wouldn't want to get close to them. As I got older and I would see the same homeless people in my neighborhood or the same people at the gas station, it kind of became normal to me. Like, I see them all the time because I actually paid attention to my surroundings and the people. I looked at faces. And I would be kind of scared, and eventually I wasn't scared. And I remember someone I was with didn't want to get out the car, and they were like, "You get out the car." And, I got out the car, and I realized then that this person was scared of homeless people, as I once was. Not only that, but as I got older, you guys, not only did I realize, that I shouldn't be scared of these people, but the mentality of thinking that everyone on the street is on drugs, everyone on the street is a bad person, that mentality, I had that type of mindset as well. Now, as I'm becoming a young lady, I started to realize that people that I knew who are loving people were getting into these relationships or being around people, or even people, when I was younger and I thought that the grown-ups around me had it together. You're a kid. So once you get older and you see that they're in toxic relationships and things like that, and you see everything from the outside in, and you realize that nothing really was what you portrayed things to be, it makes you change. It makes you evolve. So I want you guys to know, now that you guys know what a narcissist is, now that you guys know the information that you guys know, now that you guys know good and bad, it's easy to get yourself lost in the loop because of your anger, because of your emotions, because of your sadness, and things like that. So, you will get crucified. You will get crucified by speaking your mind, speaking your opinion, or speaking your truth. And that's the problem that I have with, things that I've been seeing lately, is that we all have our different stories. I have my stories. You guys have your stories. We all have our different truths, but we have to be sensitive to each other's truths, even if we don't agree to certain things. Because, see, that's what the narcissist is known to do, is starting arguments. They're always right, you're wrong. So as a human race, we should be able to talk to each other with love and understanding. And something that I might say might not, resonate with you right now. And then you might go through an experience in the future, and then you realize, oh, I remember, her story, and this is how she handled it. And this, and then you might think to yourself, let me change the direction of what I was going to do, because I've seen someone else go through it. Let me not make the same mistake. But see, a lot of us learn the hard way. It's like when you're a teenager and your parents are telling you things, and they're telling you things because they love you, or they're trying to protect you, and you think you know everything. You don't even know about these narcissists when you're young. You don't know that some of the people around you were narcissists and your parents were trying to actually protect you from them. There's many situations and things like that. But within all of these situations that we all go through, we have to be mindful of each other and do everything with love. Because the narcissist wants to portray us to be bad people. And because we keep trying to do things with love, and we keep getting rejected, or we keep going through situations that affect us, it's easy for us to fall into anger. And I think that's between sadness, anger is like something that's going to take over you. And you're going to realize that it's not even you. That's something that you used to not be this angry, that you never felt that. And that's that narcissist energy, you guys. You guys have to make sure you're mindful of that. Another thing I wanted to tell you guys was, it was my birthday yesterday, and it was another year of me realizing how thankful I am. How thankful I am that I don't have any narcissist in my life. I literally don't have a big group of friends, a big group of people around me, or anything like that. But I have myself, and that's literally enough for me. I spend the best time with myself. I actually didn't have any plans for my birthday, and I decided to do some things by myself. But in the midst of me doing that, I actually reconnected with an old friend the day before my birthday. So when me and that person bumped into each other, that person's birthday is the same day as my birthday. So back years ago, when me and that person were younger, we used to call one another twins because our birthdays. And when that person saw me, they were like, twin. And it kind of took me back, like, to when I was asleep, before I woke up to my truth. We decided to hook up for our birthdays. It just made me realize that when I was around my narcissistic relationship, it's almost as if time stopped. It's like time froze, but it was speeding fast at the same time, if that makes any sense. So it almost felt as if when I reconnected with this person, it's almost as if time froze and I went back to the past. And by the end of the night, it's almost like I fast forward back into the future just to see what life used to be like when I was around people who weren't awakened, who, just to try to figure out people. I enjoy that. I enjoy people. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy trying to find out what's really going on in behind those eyes, behind the eyes of a lot of people, because some people are not narcissists. Some people are just haven't woken up. They haven't learned the lesson, and it's going to take them that lesson the hard way. So that's what I kind of wanted to tell you guys, is learning that lesson. Like I was saying, like when you're young and your parents are trying to keep you from certain things because they know that the world, it's a dangerous place. There's, pedophiles and all kind of things going on. Don't get in the car with strangers, and all kind of things. And sometimes, even as a teenager, as girls, you want to sneak out the house, you want to sneak boys in, you want to do certain things that you're not supposed to do, and you're not understanding why. And that's because there's a lot of men preying on, especially the innocent. Most of us were in it. I know me, myself, and I was innocent. I was just, 2-3 years off, had just graduated high school, and the narcissist got me that way, because I was young. So, it's different lessons to this, but the lesson sometimes for others, it has to hit us really, really hard. And honestly, to me, I feel as if the harder it hits you, the better. I know it sounds kind of messed up, but the harder it hits you, the better. Some of the most successful people have been at rock bottom, but were able to pick themselves up because it's what's inside of them. The narcissist can't pick themselves up, so they have to slander your name. They have to make you feel small. They have to belittle you. They have to portray you as the bad person, so that they're the good person. And they believe that the more they make people believe that they're good, the more they're going to receive their blessings, because they're not believing in karma. They're not believing in any of these things. They believe that they're God. So they believe hey, if I make them look bad and make myself look good, I'm going to receive good karma, because the universe doesn't know anything. The universe just knows that everyone thinks I'm good. That's literally how stupid they think, you guys. That's literally how they think. And every single time the universe, it's like, you're full of ish, you're a liar. It's energy. you can try to fool someone, but by you trying to fool them and make them believe you're something you're not, that energy is bouncing back off on you. And we see that happen all the time when, we speak about others or people speak about others and who's right, who's wrong. And you see that even on YouTube, which before making my YouTube channel, I didn't realize that the YouTube world is like literally a whole nother world. And there's people who think that they know more, they're better. And it's sad because we should all be able to put our information together and try to come to a common understanding, or just have an understanding that we're not on the same plane. We're not on the same plane for right now. We're not on the same energy force, and that's okay, because a lot of times this is why certain people come into our life, because at that moment we might not be able to relate to each other on different levels, but you might see that same person 5-6 years later, and they've went through certain things that you've went through. It might not be the same story, just like my story is not your story. And then you guys start connecting your stories together, and then you guys are, you feel as if I finally, I have a friend that I can connect with. And that's what it's about. So I know, sometimes I ramble on because I'm very passionate about how I feel about life, and it shows. I'm not on a cocky level or anything, like that, but it shows within me, and I know it. That's what I know. That's my truth. I know it because the people around me, strangers, people want to know more about me. People wonder why I'm always happy or I'm always smiling or things like that. And that's because I'm thankful. No matter my situation, no matter how things get, no matter finances, because those things don't matter to me. The only thing that matters to me is my life, my happiness, my ability to make it through the day and the night. And I love that. I breathe and live that. And I want you guys to also one day, if you don't already feel that way, one day I want you guys to feel that way. I want you guys to know that I've been there. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything because I was being attacked by my family. I was being attacked by people that raised me, and then they thought that they can keep treating me this way now that I'm an adult, and they want to keep looking at me as that little girl, and I'm not that person anymore. I've evolved in so many different ways. I'm not even on the same frequency as them, and I can't keep dumbing myself down to take abuse from narcissistic people. So I removed myself from that situation. I removed myself from that toxic relationship that I could have kept going with. I could have kept being with that person, because narcissists, they don't stop. Once you meet a narcissist, you guys, I'm going to make this clear. Once you meet a narcissist, they will never leave your life. I don't care if you say you haven't spoke to them in years, if you haven't talked to them in years. I don't care. They do not leave. If you meet a narcissist friend, even if you don't talk to them anymore, I guarantee you one day you will bump into them. And it's going to be like an awkward moment. They might or might not talk to you. Narcissists just do not leave. They always end up popping up. Or you might be on social media and they recommend you this friend and you're wondering, why is it recommending me this friend? We don't have any mutual friends. I don't even talk to them. The universe will bring you back around all these narcissistic people. And that's why it's important for you to know what type of narcissist you're dealing with. There's different types of narcissists, different personalities, just like we have different types of good people. We're not perfect. We also have a bad side to us, but we choose to be good. And the narcissists, they choose to be bad. In the midst of our anger, when we do get angry, what I was saying earlier, when we do get angry, that's when we lash out. When we get angry and we lash out and get angry for those temporary moments, and we feel bad later on, or we feel like, man, I shouldn't have overreacted. You have to understand that the narcissist, that rage that you felt for that second, the narcissist feels like that at all times. And it's always itching them to talk about someone. It's always itching them to start some type of chaos. And they never move on, you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying this video on the narcissist is good and you are bad. So as I was telling you guys about my birthday and, how I ended up hooking up with this friend, as soon as I came back home, I had locked the gate to the front of my house. So I'm one of those people that I know when people have touched anything in the room, everything I have, I'm like OCD. I have everything a certain way. So anytime someone just moves anything, I know. And I'm like so serious, but it's kind of funny to me because I literally as soon as I came back, I walked up to my gate, and the way my gate was closed, it was closed, I closed it. I didn't lock it, but I closed it. And even though it was closed, I could tell the way it was closed, it wasn't the way I left it. And then I happened to find like a little paper on the floor, and then that's what kind of was like, someone's been here. I was like, someone's been here. And then I'm like, I can smell them in the air. Just kidding. So I'm walking up to the door, and as soon as I get to the door, but what's crazy is before I get to the door and I was out and about, I had a vision that I got flowers, which is super weird. I was like, I want flowers. Like, maybe I should buy myself some flowers for my birthday. Yeah, that's literally how I felt. And as soon as I got home, there were flowers there, right? And I was like, wow, like there's flowers here. Like, cool, I manifested them. But when I opened up the card, you guys, it was my narcissistic aunt who wrote me a card, and it made me feel some type of way. And this is why I'm making this video, because I want to show you guys how the narcissist tests you. So as you guys know, if you guys have watched my other videos, and I've kind of touched down about my aunt, one of them has cancer, or she had cancer, I'm sorry. She had cancer. She went through chemo and everything, and she's doing fine now. The other one, the one that left the flowers out, me and her have a history because my grandmother raised me, but for some odd reason, my aunts always wanted to try to jump in and try to parent me instead of parenting their own kids, like minding their own business, being at home. They were so worried about me. Anytime my grandmother would buy me anything, shoes, anything, they wanted to be involved. And it was kind of weird. Why are you trying to be involved in every little thing that my grandparent does for me? And she's the one raising me, because obviously no one else can. And instead of you showing me love, it was nothing but hate. And it's kind of like, how can you put so much hate onto me, someone who doesn't have parents, and you have all of you have husbands, all of you guys are married, all of you guys have children, but you guys are sitting here bullying me. I've been through situations with this aunt where when I was younger, before I was even like in middle school, I was like in elementary school, she had adopted some kid. He was like a teenager. He was graduating high school almost. And this narcissistic aunt, everything she does it for money. She likes to live like that really good life, and she will do anything to live that life. She has went so low to even stealing my grandmother's will. But see, when we found out that she did that, my grandmother went to go get one done where it's certified and, with a lawyer and everything. So, because, she's old, so she had one of those like old school wills where it was handwritten. So, she did take that. She was trying to take advantage of her. So she would turn my grandmother against me because I would, as I got older, I would see through her. But it all started when I was younger, and her adoptive son, who was, older than me, tried to touch me. And as soon, when I was a little girl, my grandmother taught me, like, don't let anyone touch you here, like, things like that. So I literally told my aunt and everyone, like, what happened. And, they literally were saying things like, maybe it was you, maybe you came on to him, like, you're a dirty girl, like, calling me a dirty girl. And I'm a child, I'm a kid, and I'm seeking for protection. And I know, there's many people out there who have been through things, and who people won't believe you. And I was a kid, so it started really young, and then right after that, what happened was that her adoptive son, she ended up giving him away. And when he went back into the system and he became legal, he got on drugs and he passed away. So he passed away. Then her daughter went through depression. And for that time, I had stayed with her for a little bit, like for the summer and stuff like that, because she volunteered to take me. It was all for show for my grandmother. She kept trying to act like she was this good person. So she brought me to her house, and her daughter was already depressed. And her daughter, at this point, I'm a teenager, and her daughter is like in elementary school, depressed, and she's on pills. You're in elementary school on pills already for depression. And as soon as I come to the house, she tries to hang out with me and things like that. And sometimes I would just be on my laptop and like ignoring her because, she was a kid and I was a teenager. So it would get kind of like annoying, but I was never mean to her. Like I honestly, God knows I was never mean to this little girl. I never was mean to her. If anything, I would just be like, oh, can you close the door? And she would just close the door. I'm like, close the door before you leave the room, like things like that. But I never, like the little girl would even walk into the room and she would be like, do you want me to make breakfast? I want to play like I'm a chef. And like she would like get a paper and she'll be like, here, write your order on this paper. And I'll be on my computer and I'll just be writing, whatever, playing along with her and just letting her be a kid. So she started to blame me for her daughter being depressed. And I couldn't believe that. And after that, she basically made me go stay with her for a little bit just to kick me out of her house. And then after that, she was telling my grandmother not to take me back. And I'm a teenager, you guys. I'm a teenager. I'm in high school, and she's telling my grandmother not to take me back. And then she tells me to go stay at my mother's house, which everyone knew she wasn't capable of taking care of me. But that's because they never liked me, So as I became a teenager, right before I left her house, I had got like my first job, and it was like at a like fashion retail store. And I just remember telling her that this lady that worked at the bank came into the retail store, and she was like, like, we're hiring at the bank right now. You should, come work. And I was kind of like, how old do you have to be? And she was, she told me the age, and then she told me, what else? She told me how much they pay, and she told me all I needed was like cashiering experience, and obviously I already have that, right? So my aunt, she was actually a manager for different bank, the same bank, but different branches of that bank. She was in charge of that. And I asked her if I can, if I should apply to work for her bank, because the lady told me to. And I had got my first tattoo. This was my last year of high school. I was turning 18, or I think I had just turned 18 right before I graduated. And I had this tattoo on my wrist that I had got, and it says love, and it has a heart on it. It's not anything crazy or anything. And she told me, I would never hire you because you have a tattoo on your wrist. She's like, you can try to apply, but to be honest with you, I don't think they're going to give you the job, because at the bank, we are very strict about looking professional, and that makes you look like, basically telling me I look trashy because I got that tattoo. Like, her daughters and her kids, they don't have tattoos and things like that. Like, she let her daughter get her belly button pierced, and she felt like that was a lot. So she was basically judging me off of that. And because, like, I don't have both of my parents, obviously my reaction was like, an adult is telling me I can't do something. So it put me down right away. And after that, I also had a scholarship. I had a scholarship, you guys. I was like really smart, and I was smart, but I'm not going to lie to you. My best friend, at the time, I was getting bad grades, like, and then my best friend, she was like a straight A student. Me and her didn't really like each other at first, because she was very like, I'm smart, you're dumb. And like, she would make fun of my grades. When my teacher would bring my grades, she would make fun of me and stuff. And she made me feel dumb. And I remember I didn't want people to make me feel dumb anymore. I was like, my family treats me like I'm dumb. Like, people treat me like I'm dumb. Like, so that day I had decided, like, hey, I'm going to stay after school and just do my homework here, so I won't have to do it at home around people. So I started staying after school every single day in the library. I would just do my homework and then just go home. And then by the time I graduated, I got a scholarship, but because they kicked me out, they made me go back to my mom's house. My mom, like, she couldn't take care of me. She couldn't do anything for me. Everything just, my scholarship, everything went to trash. So this lady did so many things to me. Then when I was in my narcissistic relationship, as I got older, I went back to college. I graduated. I smartened up for myself. I basically had to grow up by myself. No one told me, like, get your ish together. Like, don't let people tell you stuff. Like, go after your scholarship. No one told me anything. No one even told me to apply to college. So after going through all that, I finally was learning. I learned kind of slowly, after I graduated high school, I was learning slowly that, wow, this is the real world. And I don't have family that care about me. Like, they pretend like they do, because they're very religious and they want to portray themselves one way in front of people, but they really don't. So my escape was going back to college and graduating. And within that time, that's when the narcissist was chasing after me, because they saw my potential. They saw that, hey, this girl has a nice car. She has a job. She's going to school. Like, she's doing it all by herself. She doesn't have people around her to support her. So I'm going to come and pretend to support her. And then I'm going to basically drain her and put her in a position where that's where everyone wanted to see her. So I felt like it's like he was getting off on the pain of me being by myself as a young girl, and he wanted to drain me of my energy so that not only can he take my, years of my youth away, but he can put me in a position where my family and the people that I was trying to prove wrong, he was trying to give them something to talk about, basically. So when I had lost my daughter, as you guys may know, when I lost my daughter, after giving birth to her, my aunt kept trashing my name right when I was pregnant. She was trashing my name. She was, talking about me turning out like my mom and things like that. And trying to make me feel bad. And I was having a lot of anxiety while I was pregnant because of this, because my family and because the people around me. So that's why I went into birth, giving birth a little early. So it was the stress, I was already 7.5 months. So it was the stress. And after, like, when I was trying to get my daughter buried and stuff, everything was so unexpected, and I had to come up with so much money and stuff, and there were people that came to help me, which I believe was God just using them to help me, because everything happened so fast, you guys. So these people helped me, and these people also knew my family, and they were like, why isn't your family helping you? Like, and they also told me that they always had a vibe, like a bad vibe from them. They always felt like they were being fake, things like that. This is another thing. These people try to act like this in these Christian churches and things like that. But even the people that they are fooling slowly do start to find out how they act. And I realize that too, you guys. They start, all the flying monkeys, people that don't really know how they are, they do actually start finding out how these people are. And some of them even actually confront them. And that's what happened to my grandmother. They confronted her about, how, she's been into the church for so many years, but she's judging others all the time. And these people at the church you could tell they aren't narcissists, and they put her in her place. Like, look, I respect you because everyone respects you, but talking bad about others like that, that's not from God. And when he said that, she started crying. She, played the I'm an old lady role, and she got everyone to get upset at them. She tried to bash them in the church as well, but those people stood firm, and they even went up to her and told her that they forgive her, and my grandmother, told them that she forgives them. The fake apology, how narcissists usually are. So since I kind of already, I kind of brought you guys up to date on my story, on, not parts of my story. It's so much to my story, you guys, but this is to let you guys know that I've been through a lot, and I've gotten through all of those obstacles. Literally, I have gotten through all of those obstacles already. All the pain, the sadness, the loneliness, the abandonment. I have gotten through all of that. That's why I can speak on it. And this is why I can speak on it now. This is why I've decided to speak on it, because I know that there are a lot of people confused, and that the more that you grow and the more that you realize that you still don't know certain things. And then you learn more, and then you realize that you still need, that life is ever changing and ever growing, and you're always going to be growing. So since I'm bringing you guys up to date with that, with everything, with my aunts, my grandmother, just their whole character, I'm pretty sure by now you guys can even visualize the characteristics of these people. You guys can actually see the behaviors, the itch, the money itch, because that's very much how they are. Everything, their ways of showing love is through money. And this brings me back to my birthday. And when I told you guys I came to the door, found the flowers, and it said it was my aunt. So this narcissistic woman has sent me flowers last year. And I told her, I forgive you, but what you did to me, like, it's unforgettable. I could never come back around the family and look at you guys the way I used to look at you guys when I was a kid. You guys have bashed my name. My aunt, the other one that has cancer, you guys, the ones I told you about, when I was going through all that, and I'm a young lady, I'm a young girl that just needs help because I don't have parents and I'm out on my own. And it's, I'm very empathetic. I'm very, I used to be kind of shy. So, you know, just being in that situation and having the people around you, like, telling the only person you have in your life, your grandmother, not to help you, it's kind of messed up because you guys are married, you guys have your own families, and you guys are able to give your kids the things that I will never have. So, like, I had to watch people have birthday parties and holidays and all type of things, and I never got to experience those things. And I realized, like, my grandmother wouldn't even buy me a cake or any of those things. It literally took me a long time to process, like, yeah, she took care of me, I appreciate her, but when it came to things like birthdays and things like that, she never cared about me. And that's what it took. It literally took me a long time. So my other aunt that had cancer, literally was telling my grandmother not to help me and all kinds of things. And, she ended up losing, she had been working at her job for so long. She went through her cancer, she went through her chemo. And when she recovered, she ended up going back to work. And while she was bashing my name, she ended up losing her job. And I said, man, that's God. God does not like ugly. Like, everything you do to people, it comes right back to you. My aunt, the other one, who had the adoptive son that passed away and that was working for the bank, she ended up getting fired because they ended up finding out that she was opening up bank accounts outside of the bank so that she can get bonus points to take family vacations and stuff like that, because the bank, they give rewards, they give vacations, and they do certain things if you open up bank accounts. They found out that she was she hired her daughter to work for her, but at a different location, but people knew that was her daughter. And they ended up finding out that they were both opening up bank accounts outside of the bank. And guess what? Her and her daughter got fired. And even after they did that and they stole my grandmother's will, my grandmother would rather defend them than defend me, someone who has never taken anything from her, who has just loved her, but somehow was just never good enough for her. So, it's like narcissists, they enjoy being around other narcissists. They don't like good people, and they want to make good people seem as if they're bad. So, I told my aunt, don't send me any letters. I don't want anything to do with you because, I forgive you and I hope you forgive me. But you guys told me before that I'm technically not part of the family anymore. They told me that. They told me I hadn't been around for so long that I'm not part of the family. I said, you made that statement and that was really how you felt. And that is okay that you feel that way. But there's nothing that you can do, no amounts of flowers that you can do that is going to mend the relationship. So I wish you well. I wish you well in your life. So it brings me back to today, you guys. Yesterday when I came home, it took me all day to really just meditate on everything and remind myself of who I am. Because when I came home and I saw the flowers and all that shit, I was like, oh, she's playing games with me right now. I actually looked at the situation as God wanted me to have those flowers. So I was like, thank you, God, because it was only through you that I got these flowers, even if she gave them to me. Even when I do something for someone else, I can't brag about doing that for someone else. I can't brag about helping someone else because it's only through God that I was able to help that person. So I can't give praise to myself. I have to give praise to the higher power for being able to do those things. So when those flowers were there, I can't lie, my reaction first was I was upset. And then I literally I was like, I love these flowers though, and then I put them down by my window. And then I just really meditated over the situation. I said, well, I did want flowers, so I kind of manifested them. Then I said, she knows that I don't want to talk to her. I don't have any connection with her. I know she's narcissistic. And what she really wants me to do is ignore her, because this is what she does. She will do something to make herself look good. And then she's going to tell everyone that knows me, that knows us, the family, hey, I went and gave her flowers and she never called me to say thank you. But I haven't spoken to you in like over 6-7 years. So why would you expect me to call you and say anything to you when I've already have said so many times that, I'm okay that we're not how it used to be, because it's never going to be how it used to be. I can't be around people who had cancer, who had something so serious, a serious situation, something like cancer, and go around telling people that I pushed them or I hit them when I've never came close to them, just so that people can think that I'm the aggressor, just so that people can hate me, just so that my grandmother, the only person I had on my corner to help me, just so that she won't help me in any situation, so that she can believe that, wow, look how my granddaughter is acting. She's even hitting her aunt, someone with cancer. You know how bad that sounds for people to think you actually put your hands on someone with cancer? So what this video is really about, even though, like I went back and forth, but I hope that you guys, hung in there with me and hear me out, is that the narcissist will always portray to be good and you will always be portrayed to be bad. So it's very important that when you're out in the world and you see that there are people who are being judged, or you're at work and there's a coworker who starts talking bad about someone, always remember that the person talking bad about someone else, that person, a lot of chances that person might be the narcissist and they're bashing someone else, making them look bad. So you have to be very careful, because just as people try to make you look like you are bad, there are others in this world who are being crucified in many different ways. They're being crucified at work. They're being crucified at home. They're being crucified in their neighborhood, in places that they live. They're being crucified even with their neighbors. I've had a situation where my neighbor, they have like this huge dog. They had a huge dog, and, they kept that dog isolated. So when you keep these dogs isolated, they become very kind of crazy, like they're driving themselves crazy. So the dog would start like banging his head on the gate, starting to just biting the gate, doing all kinds of things. And they destroyed the gate to the point where the gate broke and started hanging on their side of the home. And I tried talking to my neighbors about it in a very nicely manner, but they got very aggressive with me, and they're like, how do you know it's the dog, and all these things. And I'm like, well, I don't have any kids. I don't have anyone that lives here. I'm the only person here. And I I keep to myself, and there's no reason why the gate would be broken. And I've actually seen the dog break it. I seen him break it and stick his head through my gate to the point where I'm trying to walk through the back to wash my clothes in the laundromat, the dog sticking his head through the gate. And I'm like scared, like, I don't know. I told them that I was scared. I didn't know, if the dog would bite me because he's sticking his head now. And they were like, the dog's not going to bite you. He doesn't bite anyone. He's a good dog, and da 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 da. And it's like, people can't even just slow down and just do, I came to you with love. And why is it so hard to come at me with love? And why is it that you're trying to make me be the bad person by just stating something that is obvious? And that's when you realize that common sense is really not that common. And when you run across those situations, know that you might be dealing with a narcissist. Know that you will always seem as if you are the bad person. But once you surround yourself with people who are like you, people who have a vision, and you actually create a vision for yourself, and you go outside of your comfort zone, you will find people who won't judge you. It's easy for the people that you grew up with and the people around you to judge you because they will always look at you the same. They will always look at you based on experiences that you went through. They will always judge you for being in a relationship with a narcissist. They will always look at you as that person that was losing control when being with the narcissist. They will never look at you as a human being, and that's the problem with people. Sometimes you have to just get outside of your comfort zone and meet new people, and go new places, but always be cautious because there's narcissists everywhere, and always be cautious with exposing too much, Be very careful with exposing so much, and be okay with doing everything on your own. Just make sure you have a vision. Once you have that vision, everything else will come together. But you have to have a vision, because if not, you're just a sitting duck with information. It's okay to have information. It's a wonderful thing to meditate. It's a wonderful thing to be by yourself for a while and to love yourself, to learn yourself, to be okay, to cry 1 minute, to be happy the next minute. It's okay to do those things because that just means that you're human. But these experiences mold us into who we are. They mold us into the truths of this universe, into the truths in relationships. We realize that these relationships with these people that are asleep will never be successful because they are both sleeping. And then sometimes one person wakes up and the other one is sleeping, and then they get divorced. So find someone who is not sleeping, who's awake, who's surround yourself with people who are alert on what's going on, and be aware that a lot of narcissists also have information of narcissists. They actually watch these videos that I post. They actually watch these videos. There are some narcissists who even think that they aren't narcissists, and they actually are, and they come on these videos, and it's actually really scary to watch, to see. It's really disturbing because they're not even realizing that they surrounded themselves with so many rotten fruits that they actually have given in, and they're turning into a rotten fruit themselves because they're carrying hate in their heart. You can't have hate for anyone, no matter what happened to you, because life is a journey. It's not meant to be perfect. It's meant to teach you lessons. So I hope that this message resides with you guys. I hope that it can make you guys feel better through your journey, through your healing. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this subject. Have you guys ever been treated as if you were the bad person with these narcissists? And not only that, but Have you guys been in situations with family and things like that where you do not talk to these people for like years at a time, you know? And if you do talk to them, it's because you respond to something that they say that they're trying to trigger you with. Um, you know, I know with narcissist relationships, these people never stop, you guys. My grandmother, I told you guys on another video, this is maybe the reason why she is the way she is now, because she was with a narcissist. That was her first love was a narcissist. And some of us, you know, learn after the first time, and some of us just end up having another narcissist as we get older, and another narcissist, until we finally get the worst out of the worst narcissist. And my grandmother's narcissist, they were together when she was like, I think like 20, 21, and she never spoke to him. And he reached out to her when my grandfather died, and that was when she was about 77 years old. So from 20 years old to 77 years old, and he was telling her that they should have got married and all type of things. And my grandmother was like, look, I forgive you. I accept your apology for what you did to me. It took you 50 years to apologize, but we aren't going there. It's too late. I've had kids and grandkids, like you're crazy. So these narcissists, they never stop, and you will always be the bad person if you surround yourself with people that agree with them. So I'll talk to you guys on the next one. Bye.